All right. Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Jack Kelley. I'm Cherokee, and I've had the experiences of being a resident here at the Oaks Mission. Also, spent 6 years in school here, graduated from Oaks, and got an opportunity because of the Lutheran ministry and the church to go to college. And I went to college in called Lindsborg, Kansas. The original full-bloods didn't want their children leaving Oaks or this part of Oklahoma because, like I told you, they're afraid it would never come back.
Yeah.
Because they would think, well, I don't have any reason to come back, you know.
Yeah, but we came back.
And but that's a characteristic of native tribes in general. Is once they get to adulthood, they don't travel far from home for school or anything like that. Melessa and I are exceptions to that rule. And by the way, my name is Jay Kelley. Given name is Jack Kelley Jr. First issue of Jack and Luann Kelley. I grew up here in Oaks from the time I was in 7th grade, 13 years old, until I graduated high school from here. And then I went off to college in the state of Iowa to also a Lutheran school, Wartburg College. Got my degree in history and education, and I spent a number of years away from here. I worked and taught for 5 years on the Standing Rock Reservation in North Dakota. A couple of years I was in Missouri, or Missouri, depending on which part of the state you're from, and taught there for a couple of years. Returned home here for a few years. Worked at the Oaks Indian Mission as a house parent, but I also was a teacher and a coach up at the public school. The past 15 years, I've been back in the state of Iowa, and I taught and coached there, and then ventured out into the business world for a while. Worked in banking, worked in elder care, but in the last year, I decided it was time to return home. And so, that call to home has been there for a long time. It's rare that you see someone who is from a native that's from an area that they venture out into different parts of the country. I did it, and Melessa, who's about to introduce herself, also did it. So,
Yes. And I'm Melessa Kelley, their middle child. I also grew up here from the 3rd grade and graduated from high school here. And by the way, he didn't mention that we were all tops of our classes. He was valedictorian, he was salutatorian, and I was valedictorian. Wow.
I was salutatorian.
And he was only what, like 0.3?
0.03.
0.03.
I got beat out of that valedictorian by John Quick, Janet Osborne, who I tutored. I tutored her.
And then anyway, I did part of my prerequisites for nursing at Northeastern State University, just down the road, which I don't know if you got to go by there or not.
Yeah.
Did you get to see our original Indian hospital too?
Is that cool?
The optometry building.
It's the
now the
optometry school now.
optometry building.
Yes.
Maybe when we drive back on Friday, depending on which way we go back, I can show you. And then I went to nursing school at Bacone in Muskogee, Oklahoma, which now is mostly tribal. Now back then it was intermixed, but I went to school there. And then about 99, I decided to venture down to Florida. I moved down to Florida, and I actually worked at a hospital there from 2000 until 2016 at that hospital. But I did my bachelor's degree, my master's degree, and then my PhD at Florida Atlantic University with Dr. Lowe, and that's how I actually ended up meeting him. And I actually got excited about hearing about these nurses coming back to Oklahoma, and they're like, a lot of my students or my classmates didn't understand. They were like, well, why would you want to go on a trip to go back to Oklahoma when you live there? I said, because this is my opportunity to go back and show or talk to kids about their opportunities that they can go out and do this too. So when I did my presentation with them here at the school at Oaks, I told them I was a graduate from here. I went to high school here, and you can do the same thing, and I've traveled. I went down to Florida, and they're like, wow, really? And I was like, yes, and you can do that too. And because that's something that they always instilled in us from being little, that, you know, you can be anything you want to be. You can go anywhere, and don't ever let anyone tell you any different. So it was just, even with these kids, that was the same message I gave to them. Don't ever let anyone tell you you can't do something or be somebody, because it's just that little seed of hope. So each time when we bring the nurses back, that's that one thing, and we always remind them that even with these kids, it may not be, you might not see like a huge difference, but it may just be one that you instill that hope in them to keep going. And you know, they're very proud that they have someone from this community that has a PhD, has a doctorate. And obviously the first in my family. So
First in village.
First in the village here.
Yeah, my oldest son and my daughter,
Yeah.
they're the example that you can go anywhere in the United States, and they've been everywhere in the United States. But you also know where you can come back to be a part. Again, when I was talking about the Cherokee family that you're a part of, people, they don't want them to leave because they're afraid they're going to break away. They want to keep that circle. You know, here when I came to Oaks, I felt that way about the elders that were here, Tuckers, Robbins. There were several others that they took you in as family. In California, when I lived there, I wasn't there long enough to be an adult. I was there until I was 11 years old. You just felt like you're part, friends, and that's it. Here, they include you as family. And Jay knows that because he's half Tucker too.
Yeah. And the family, the Tucker family, the patriarch of that family was a gentleman by the name of Charlie Tucker. And he was one of the first graduates of whenever Oaks had a public school in 1928. And after he graduated, he remained part of the community. The director of the home at that time, the Oaks Indian Mission, he also had cattle and some agricultural operations, and he became the supervisor of and ran his cattle operations. They cut out a piece of the mission property so that he could build a home on here, and that home still exists down there, and his daughter and some of his grandchildren and great-grandchildren still live there.